New moons are all about new beginnings. And in the sign of Cancer, these new beginnings are centered around our inner lives and our emotional well-being. Themes such as familial relationships, our roots, and our basic emotional needs are going to come into focus so that we can create new things that are emotionally fulfilling. In this video, I'm going to talk about the 5 things you need to know for this new moon in Cancer and what you can do to make the most of it. So stick around. You definitely don't want to miss this. What's up, everybody? As always, I hope that this video finds you well and in excellent spirits. It's your girl Mel of Divine Feminine Works, here to help you unlock your divinity and discover your magic. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. So this video is all about the new moon in Cancer going down on Tuesday, June 28th at 10:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I don't know about you, but I absolutely love new moons. It's that time of the month where we get a do-over. The lunar cycle is restarting, and in a way, so are we. We're able to set new intentions, start new things, and plant new seeds that we want to see come to fruition in our lives. And speaking of planting new seeds, one of the major themes of this new moon is the concept of nurturing. When it comes to setting intentions, this new moon is going to give us the energy and the motivation to cultivate and nurture the things that we want to see grow in our lives. So, without further ado, let's get into the 5 things that you need to know about this new moon in Cancer. And be sure to stay to the end because I've got a bonus surprise for you. So, let's get into it. Number 1, this new moon is really about starting fresh. So new moons are all about new beginnings. It's when the sun and the moon are conjunct in a sign, meaning that they occupy the same space in the sky. New moons symbolize newness, hence the name, starting fresh and planting new seeds. If you've watched any of my other moon series videos, and I highly suggest that you do, you're probably a pro when it comes to new moons and full moons, what they mean and what to expect. But this new moon in particular stands out because the moon is in its home sign of Cancer. So when a planet is in its home sign, it is super comfortable. Think about when you're at home, right? You're in your sweats, you're comfortable, you can move about from room to room, you can open the fridge whenever you like, you can even walk around naked if that's your thing. The point I'm trying to make is that when you're at home, you are free to be unapologetically you. And when a planet is in its home sign, it's the same exact thing. In its home sign, the moon can express itself in the best way possible. And being in the new moon phase, the moon is going to be giving some serious starting fresh energy. So if you are looking to manifest anything new, start new projects, initiate something in your life, this is going to be the new moon to do so, all right? So you don't want to sit this one out if you can help it. With the moon at home, our sensitivities, intuition, psychic abilities, and most importantly, our emotions are free to express themselves and be felt. And this brings me to number 2. Number 2, this new moon is very emotional. As a cardinal water sign, Cancer is very sensitive and emotional. In the zodiac, Cancer is the first of the 3 water signs and is characterized as being sensitive, nurturing, psychic, and a bit defensive, among other things. Cancer energy is feminine, so it's receptive, soft, and creative. It's also initiating, meaning that it likes to start new projects, especially ones concerning home and family. Think of Cancer energy like the tides of the ocean. Our emotions ebb and flow, which make us very moody and very sensitive to the energies around us. This new moon is going to have the flavor of a full moon in terms of its emotional intensity. The difference, however, is that this surge of emotions is going to be the starting point rather than the finish line for our dreams and goals that we want to realize. While some may cringe at the mention of emotions, it's important to understand that they have a very useful purpose. We are more than just physical beings. We have an emotional component to our bodies that can't be ignored. If our physical body and our emotional body are healthy, then so are we. And that's the best place from which to manifest. This new moon will bring up emotions related to our security, our home, our families, our roots, and our basic emotional needs. It's going to require that we address the emotions inside us and get us to think about what we want to achieve in the future that are going to make us feel emotionally secure, cared for, and loved. Number 3, this new moon is very spiritual. We can't talk about Cancer without talking about spirituality. Cancer is known for its intuitive and psychic abilities. Of all the elements, water is the most spiritual, and communication with the spiritual realm comes very naturally to Cancer. But that's not the only reason why this new moon is so spiritual. The number 7 plays a very important role here. The new moon is occurring at the 7th degree of Cancer, making it relationship-oriented, highly spiritual, and imaginative. Let me explain. In numerology, 7 is associated with the number of completion. It's also associated with the spiritual path, truth-seeking, depth, wisdom, and secrets. Think of the Bible. Creation was completed within 7 days. So needless to say, 7 is a highly spiritual number. It's all about understanding and having faith in the unseen. Concerning astrology, the number 7 is associated with the signs of Libra and Pisces. Libra is relationship-oriented and peace-seeking, while Pisces is highly imaginative and very spiritual. Specifically with this new moon, our closest family relationships and the emotions that they invoke are going to come into sharp focus. For some, this new moon will address substantial family issues, whether it's the family you have, the family that you want to create, or those who feel like family in your life. Taking it a step further, in Tarot, the 7th card in the major arcana is the Chariot, which is the card for Cancer. So this new moon is all about Cancer, spirituality, and the number 7. So more than just being about new beginnings, this new moon is going to have us tap into our spiritual sides, address our closest relationships, and be imaginative in the pursuit of our dreams and goals. Number 4, the new moon will be assisted by Jupiter and Venus. Jupiter and Venus are here to lend this new moon a helping hand in a major way. First, Jupiter, who's currently hanging out in fiery Aries, will square the Sun and Moon in Cancer. Squares are when 2 planets, or in this case 3 because the Sun and the Moon are in the same spot, form a 90-degree angle between each other. Symbolically, squares denote tension and frustration. But the good thing about squares is that tension and frustration allow us to grow. For example, if you're looking to tone up in the gym, right? You need to add tension and resistance to your workouts in order to build muscle, right? And that's the same exact concept with squares. With Jupiter being a positive planet, it's known as a benefic. Even though it's in a not so positive square, it's still going to add a lot of positivity to the mix. Specifically, Jupiter will amp us up and give us the faith, motivation, and energy to take action toward the fulfillment of our goals. But remember, this is still a square, so we're going to have to balance this get up and go energy with our desire to be cautious, protective, and nurturing of the things that we want to initiate. Next, Jupiter in Aries will sextile Venus in Gemini, and they'll both be at that magic 7th degree. Sextiles symbolize positive opportunities, and with Jupiter and Venus, known as the benefic planets in astrology, positivity is going to be at an all-time high. So for this new moon, you'll definitely want to pay attention to any opportunities that arise, specifically opportunities that involve other people. These opportunities may come in the form of communications, ideas, conversations, or plans that either help you get started or help you along your journey. So what's important to remember here is that with Jupiter and Venus in the mix, fortune favors the bold and teamwork makes the dream work. Number 5, things will become clearer with Neptune retrograde. Neptune is going retrograde on the same day as the new moon. And I know what you're thinking. You're already cringing at the word retrograde, but let me explain. I think people have this PTSD when it comes to retrograde because of the cult phenomenon that Mercury retrograde has become. I think when you hear the word retrograde, you may think that it's like the universe fucking shit up, things going bad, or your raggedy ex coming back around, right? And that's so not what retrograde encompasses. compasses, although sometimes it is, but largely it's not. Retrograde energy can be extremely helpful, and that's especially the case here with Neptune retrograde. Normally, when Neptune is direct, things are foggy and unclear. Our heads are in the clouds, things aren't what they seem, and we're caught up in fantasy and illusion. So starting anything new under these conditions is challenging to say the least. But when Neptune is retrograde, things become clearer. We're not subject to fantasy and illusion, and we can see the truth of any given situation. So with Neptune retrograde, setting new intentions and planting new seeds becomes easier, and it allows us to see the bigger picture in a realistic way. Neptune retrograde equals clarity. Neptune isn't the only planet that will be retrograde during this new moon. Saturn and Pluto have important parts to play in this story as well. For its role, Saturn retrograde will have us revisit past lessons and karma, for better or for worse. The good thing about this is that whatever lessons we learn from Saturn retrograde, we can immediately apply to whatever we're trying to manifest at this new moon. Pluto retrograde is all about transformation from the inside out. It's about resurrection and rebirth. So with this type of energy at our disposal with this new moon, we can get rid of those old, outdated patterns and truly have a transformative new beginning. So here's the quick and dirty on what you need to know for the new moon in Cancer. Number 1, with the moon in its home sign, this new moon is really about new beginnings. Number 2, emotions will definitely run high with this new moon, but we can focus our emotions on what makes us feel secure, loved, and protected. Number 3, spirituality is definitely a thing with this new moon, so try not to rely so much on your 5 senses and have a little bit of faith in the unseen. Number 4, the astrology of this new moon allows for positive action and opportunities. So instinct plus intuition plus action equals success. And finally, the retrograde planets provide us with clarity, wisdom, and transformation in whatever we are trying to manifest. All right, so as promised, I have a bonus surprise for making it all the way to the end of this video. So comment with a moon emoji if you have made it this far. All right, so I decided to pull some cards to give us a message for this new moon. And what is so interesting, and I love the way the spirit works, is that it took me a couple of takes in order to film some of this stuff. And every time I reshuffled the deck and pulled, some different cards, but the same card always came out. And let me show you what it is. See that? Action, action, action. And I want you to notice that it's a number 15, which reduces to a 6, which is all about relationships. So again, there's a lot of this new moon that's about taking action, initiating things, especially as it deals with relationships. And given that we're talking about Cancer, this is about our closest relationships, typically our family, right? And I want you to take a good look at the imagery of this card, right? It almost looks like a dancer, and they're just free, and they have this beautiful movement, and this speaks to the moon being in Cancer. Remember, I said that the moon is in its home sign, so it's free to express itself unapologetically. And that's sort of the way that you should approach this new moon as well. It's about expressing yourself, having your emotional needs met, and starting something new having to do with home or with family, right? And you're going to do it unapologetically. There's this energy of being free and being blissful, I'm getting. That's really important with this new moon. So the message is, don't hold back. Even if you're trying to start something new, it's almost like your mind may be psyching you out, right? Your mind may be making you think, oh, I can't have that, or maybe I shouldn't do that, or it's not the right time. With the moon being in its home sign and it being unapologetically the moon, you need to be unapologetically you. So open wide, open up your arms, receive what's around you, feel the energy that's around you, especially with that Cancer energy, right? And do you. I really feel like that's the message of this moon. So we also have the 7 of Cups, right? And the 7 of Cups talks about options. It talks about confusion, especially in an emotional sense. So I also feel like during this new moon, many of us may have many options presented to us, many opportunities. I feel like that speaks directly to Jupiter sextile Venus that I spoke about before. But some of us may have our emotions all over the place because we don't necessarily know where to go or what to do. There's so many things that we could start, so many ideas and emotions that we're feeling, right? Some of them may be valid, some of them may be not so valid, right? But I think one of the things that we need to do is really go where we feel good. Cancer is an emotional sign. It talks about and it speaks to our emotional well-being. So whatever option you take, whatever direction you're going in, whatever you're looking to start at this time, I feel like it has to feel good. It has to make emotional sense to you and speak to your basic emotional needs. So if it doesn't make you feel loved, if it doesn't make you feel cared for, protected, secured, or warm even, maybe you don't want to engage with it. Maybe it's not the best thing to engage in or start at this time. All right. And then finally, the last card that we have is Judication. And this just lets me know that this is about making a decision, right? Like I said before, we've got a lot of this opportunistic energy with Jupiter and Venus being sextile at the same time of this new moon. So a lot of opportunities are going to be coming our way. And this isn't necessarily the time to straddle the fence, okay? And this speaks directly to the number 7 and how that represents Libra, right? Libra is all about balancing the scales, but Libra can be a little indecisive. It sort of straddles the fence and it's sort of like, yeah, I see this point. Yeah, I see this point, and not really making a decision. Whereas I feel like because Cancer is such an initiating sign, because it's a cardinal water sign, meaning that it initiates, it's about taking action with respect to one or even a few specific things. Don't straddle the fence. Don't wander in indecision land. Make a decision and really go for it, all right? With Jupiter and Aries, it gives us that get up and go. It gives us that motivation and that faith to really go after our dreams. And again, with this new moon in Cancer, this could be dreams related to family, related to home, relating to starting something new that we want to nurture and grow. So don't be indecisive. Really just go, have faith, learn the lessons, apply whatever lessons come up, and really go after your dreams because you can really have them, okay? There's a lot of positivity that can come out of this new moon. And so the best way to make use of it is to make a decision with respect to what you want and go for it. All right, my loves, that concludes today's video on the new moon in Cancer. As always, I sincerely hope that you were able to get at least one important piece of information from this video that you find either useful or valuable. If so, don't forget to hit that like button. Check out the description box below for all of the links for my services, products, and contact information. Thank you so much for tuning in. Happy new moon in Cancer, and I will see you in my next video. Take care.